Peace, family. Hey, it's very important, right? It's very important that if you are of a religion or a cult, a cult, whatever the term may be, in order to describe your fascination, your so-called faith, whatever it may be. And I'm not disrespecting nobody. It's very important that you don't impose your religion upon other people. The problem is that most people are so caught up in cults. They're so caught up in religion that they forget that there's no way to force or explain anything to someone else without having to disrespect them. You understand what I'm saying? And I find it more so than not that people continuously do these things, and I had to straighten out multiple people, on this online platform, other online platforms, whatever it may be, But what I do notice is that they're so under the spell, they're so lost, they're in a specific, man-made book or whatever, that book may be, and they're stuck there, and they get so offended when you ask them certain questions. It's like, first of all, don't go looking for trouble. Growing up, my folks always told me, you got to do what you got to do when you got to do it if someone fuck with you. That's always been day one rule if you grew up in the era that I grew up. But it was also, don't go looking for shit. Don't go looking for shit. When you look for shit is when you're going to find out. And that's with anything. And I shit you not, 90% of the time, if I'm on a specific platform or whatever, motherfuckers always come after me, right? And if you want to do that, that's cool. But you got to be ready to drop the facts. You got to leave your ego at the door. You got to leave your religious bias at the door, and you got to be able to drop facts. And the majority of these guys, they don't have any facts. Everything that they have comes out of a specific book that's been written by somebody that they don't even know. It's been written by somebody that didn't write it themselves. But they keep pushing and pushing and pushing until you gotta really let off. That's why I said I'm not here to disrespect the people that want to have a religion or whatever. But don't come fucking with me, because I'm going to let you know. Don't try to convince me of something that's not. Because I'm going to let you know. Ain't nobody about to sit up in here and be quiet, because you going to come and try to, run somebody over with your belief, not what you know, what you believe. You know what I'm saying? And it's really sick, man. It's really sick, because the majority of people have never even went all the way back in history to really understand where the ideology of what they're talking about even comes from. People have only gotten to the point where someone convinced them in order to believe something. And that could have been 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and so on. But they convinced you. They didn't show you. They didn't go to any areas of the world to show you why you should believe in this or why you should believe in that. Because half of the motherfuckers hadn't even traveled the world themselves. And I have a huge problem with that. So the thing is like, stop trying to convince people. You know, like you have the Hebrew Israelites. You know what I'm saying? They are notorious at doing that. Going around and yelling at people and shouting at people and telling them this and that, and all this stuff is false. You know what I'm saying? But they want to impose on it to make you, intimidate you, to make you believe in something that's not there. Because like I said, when you start asking these questions, they can't answer it. But their reply and their rebuttal to what you ask is emotional. It's egotistical. And it always dances around the facts. Always. That's the only reply that you're gonna get. Trust me, I've been back and forth with people for quite a while, and I get the same shit over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is not a disrespect to people that want to believe in a religion or a cult or whatever you call it. But the problem is that you guys go looking for people and you go trying to pick with people because you want them to join your mindset and your cult. But then you run up against somebody that actually did the facts, that actually has the facts. And when they want to have a conversation with you, it's a problem. You start getting disrespectful. You start coming from the left field. You know, it's like where do you get all this energy from? Where do you get all this energy from? You know what I'm saying? Like I've fucking grew up and seen people do this. You know, I grew up and seen people do this from childhood. You know, whether it was a Jehovah Witness, you know, and these people come in and, you know, walk up to your door and, you know, and try to make you believe in what they believe in, and, you know, and then you're another religion and you try to make them believe in what they believe in. It's like you guys are selling each other on some shit. You're selling each other. There's no facts. You're just trying to bully each other to try to believe in a specific thing. You guys are probably listening right now and you know I'm telling the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. How many times have you seen it? How many times have you seen it? How many times have you went to a priest, to a pastor, or to a prophet, and you really sat down and tried to get factual information versus you just joining into something because someone told you to do it? You know, and it's scary, man. It's a really spooky situation because people don't like to talk about conversations like this. You know, they want to wiggle around certain things, but like I said, when you start relaying out specific questions that intervene in their belief, then they want to get really disrespectful with you. You know, but for me, I don't have no problem with it. If you want to go to the next level, you can. Because I know at the end of the day, I know what I know. I've done the facts. I went back on the timeline to really try to get a understanding on what's going on. You know, you can't just tell somebody that this creator created something, but you can't explain it yourself as to how that even came about. And you can't tell somebody that it's the truth if you don't have the exact factual information. Because based off of that, it's just a belief. It's not factual. So while you're sitting here, you know, trying to bully people to believe in what you want to believe in, you're just doing a disservice. That's all you're doing. It's better for people to have a positive spiritual situation, you know, within themselves. It's better like that. You don't need people to tell you that you should not steal. You don't need people to tell you that you should not unalive people. You don't need somebody to tell you that you should not disrespect your mother or your father. You don't need someone to tell you those things. Because last time I checked, your mother and your father are the ones that conceived you. So why do you need to step outside of them to go and listen to somebody else that you don't even know? But they can't answer those kind of questions because you're so egotistical, you're so disrespectful, and they're stuck in this one little spot. And that's the reason why. But I tell you, if you bring that shit to me and you bring it in a disrespectful manner, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put you out on the spot. I'm going to make you look bad if you bring it to me in a disrespectful manner. But if we can have an intelligent conversation, whatever, then that's cool too. But you're going to have to get control of yourself. You're going to have to get some type of control over yourself. Because ain't nobody scared over here. But that's all I got for you guys. Anybody is new to the channel, man, I appreciate you guys taking a listen to this video. All my existing followers, I appreciate you guys to continue to follow, where you know I drop nothing but the facts, and you know what it is. The truth is always going to be in session. Peace.